Friday the 13th, Part 2. More of the night he came home. Wait a minute. Wrong franchise.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
Here's the first movie.
Did you know I'm utterly insane?
Peel that pig and slice him thick.
The body count is always bigger.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
And the fucking trees walked in those movies.
Hi, doggy.
What a story, Mark.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled.
It's just like your opinion, man.
Life moves pretty fast.
If you want your sequel to become a franchise.
37 dicks.
In a row?
I'm your number one fan.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Marathon Me with your host Rhys
and Kane.
And we're back at it with the Friday the 13th franchise.
This was not a one-off, we meant it, we're committing to this.
Exactly, we are back. And who would have known, but we're back with the second one, Part 2.
Oh my god, we're following it up just as soon as they followed up the original film when it came out. Because this film only came out like 10 months after the release of Part 1.
That is nuts to me that it is so quickly they've just knocked them out.
They spared no expense and they were just like, alright, let's just go, let's just get into it.
But they used to do that with these franchises, right? It was just one after the other, and like, I think that it's very difficult. You don't see that often, apart from like Marvel films, because the whole but that's like a whole universe.
Yeah, exactly. And plus, also they rake in a lot of money and all that, so it's also like, let's just keep doing this. Let's just release these months apart from each other, and plus they got like multiple teams working on them. With this, it's just like one team. It's like one team. Sometimes like a completely different team with like maybe maybe the same director or something.
A modern franchise though that has done something similar to this with just the proximity of sequels coming out so quickly that shocked me was with X, Pearl, and Maxine.
Oh, yeah!
That trilogy.
Oh my god!
That, like, X is... I assumed, like, when I saw Pearl and Maxine coming out, that, like, X is, like, that's, like, 2 years old. That's so recent. No.
That's
X is 2022, early 2022. It came out around, like, March or something.
Insane.
Because I think that I was at Cinema Nova at the time, and then Pearl came out late 2022, so not even a full year with then getting, like, a sequel.
Yeah.
And then next year's Maxine.
Yeah, that's insane. Like, the only other film that I can think... The only other kind of horror series I can think of that did something similar was you remember the Fear Street movies when they came out?
Oh, yeah.
I never watched them, but I remember, like, they all released, like, months apart from each other in the span of 2021.
I feel like that was almost like because it was a streaming thing, it seemed like it was almost intentional, though, that it was like an anthology...
I guess.
Yeah, like I think it was sort of like in mind that it's almost like a horror anthology series, but then they're just going to market them and sell them as movies instead.
Well, I mean, like they are all interconnected. They all do share the same story, it's just a different like eras, basically.
Yeah, and like that to me almost feels more like a. Like, because it didn't have a traditional sort of theatrical release. It doesn't even feel... It feels like more an experimentation with, like, what's a series and what's a film.
I guess, yeah.
This just, like... The whole X and Pearl trilogy thing, that just is very bizarre to me.
No, it's insane. I still haven't seen those movies. I want to. They look really cool.
I watched X recently. Expected to really enjoy it, and I really disliked it.
Really?
I thought it was so shallow, and I was not a fan at all.
Damn.
I don't understand the hype around it.
I know nothing about it. All I know is that old people kill, and I know it's got Kid Cudi in it. That's all I know about it.
It's probably my least favorite A24 film that I've seen.
Damn, man.
Yep.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, because A24 is pretty high quality,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, they're pretty consistent with quality and all. I mean, obviously I haven't seen every A24 film, but, like, I'd assume they'd be pretty consistent with quality. Granted, like, I haven't seen X, so who knows? Maybe I might like it, but I don't know. Like, I'm not, like, going out of my way to see it and all that. It's like, just, if I catch it one day, I'll catch it one day.
But one thing that I would go out of my way to see would be Friday the 13th, Part 2.
Here's a little bit of the trailer.
On a June night in 1980, Friday the 13th, 12 of her friends were murdered. Why should Friday the 13th, 1981, be any different. Friday, the 13th, Part 2. The body count continues. 14.
You're all doomed. You're all doomed.
15.
God.
16.
Help!
17.
Okay, one thing that I have to say about this trailer is that it has as many dips to white as the actual film does.
Oh my god, yeah.
Did you notice that?
In the trailer? Yes. In the movie? Oh, definitely.
Oh
yes.
my god.
Yeah.
There's so many. There are weird transitions in this film.
Yeah, it's very. There's some really creative transitions in this movie, I will say. For example, one of them being the dog in the movie when it like comes across Jason. It then cuts to like a shot of like hot dogs on a grill.
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty funny, honestly.
So it definitely feels like a step up production-wise and pretty much every other element of this film than the first. But then there were some things like those weird transitions that feels more awkward than the first one.
Yeah, still has a bit of that amateur feel to it. And all that. Like they're still trying to find their footing, like production and like editing, like especially editing-wise and all that.
I think that it puts into perspective how sort of seamless the structure of the first film is.
Mm-hmm.
Like at least like it just occurs, and I feel like you very rarely sort of get a wake-up call that, oh, this is a movie, and like why did they choose to go to the next scene here and that sort of stuff. Here there's a lot of strange stuff like that.
It's just like this happens, okay, next scene, this happens, okay, next scene kind of thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of like at least here it feels like that they're sort of experimenting with how to make it interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That then, of course, expands as you go on through the entire
definitely.
franchise.
Well, I mean, we even get some like a couple new locations in this movie. I mean, obviously, this like the whole camp is like a different like part of Crystal Lake and all that. It's like a new camp that they're opening up. What was it called?
Packanack Lodge.
Packanack Lodge.
Yep.
That just sounds like a. This sounds like a new season of Total Drama right there. Total Drama, Packanack Lodge.
It does. It actually does.
What the hell?
I'm really now like looking out to sort of notice and pay attention to like the different locations that they go throughout the franchise.
Yeah.
Because in the Friday the 13th game, there's different maps.
Yeah,
and
they do rebrand especially like Crystal Lake as a whole. They do like rebrand it a couple times in like the later films.
Yeah, and even like even here as well. Like I feel like that it does feel like a unique location in comparison to the last one.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, like the last one, the camp kind of felt like a lot more run down, a lot more like old-timey, very rustic, you know?
Yeah.
This one feels like a bit more high-end, more kind of modern for like 1981 standards.
The original feels like Cabin in the Woods. It could have been the same location that they freaking filmed The Evil Dead in, sort of thing.
Definitely.
This here, because it's a lodge, like it's a lot more of a grand sort of. I think you get more of an understanding of like how the actual lodge is laid out.
Yeah.
Like one thing that is really cool is like how in this video game, if you do Packanack Lodge and you play on there, it is the exact layout as the film.
Oh, nice.
Like exactly to the T. And I think that's really, really cool. So I really like the location of this film.
Yeah, no, it's nice because like you could have easily just like had it be done again at the same bloody location and all that. So it was appreciated that like, you know, this movie is basically kind of like a soft remake of the first one in terms of like...
It feels a little bit like it, yeah.
But like, you know, it just different enough to differentiate itself from the original, and plus also, like you said earlier, step up in terms of pretty much everything else that came before.
You could very easily pick this film up without seeing the first one.
Oh,
without a doubt.
Definitely.
And they make that even easier with this thing that 80s sequels just seem to do, where they used to just play you the end of the last movie.
Yeah, I forgot that they did that in this movie.
Like, they don't just show you, like, a little bit. They show you the ending.
They show you, like, the final, like, fight, like a little bit of the final fight between Alice and Mrs. Voorhees, the beheading, the final jump scare. Like they show you everything.
You get the entire hospital scene.
Yep, you do.
Like you get heaps to catch you up.
It's crazy.
Yeah, which is sort of it's. I find it really funny and fun, and also it's like you sort of realize that it's not distracting from the fact that it's a movie.
Yeah.
Also, they do do it here though in such a way where it's Alice like reminiscing on it.
Yeah, they kind of they have it a bit more like creatively done in terms of like the previously on Friday the 13th like recap and all that. Yeah, it's creatively like inserted into the film with like it being portrayed as a nightmare sequence basically.
Yeah, exactly. So they tried a little bit of subtlety.
Yeah,
there.
no, it was nice.
But yeah, how weird that like so we're greeted with Alice immediately in this film, and then Jason comes and home invades her.
Yeah, I know.
And so we don't actually have to wait until part 8 to see Jason in an urban setting.
Yeah, he's basically just taken over suburbia already.
No, it's definitely like an urban sort of setting.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's like we see like city streets instead of suburban.
Are you sure? I thought they were just like regular towns. I mean, like you could barely see like any like the exterior.
No, she's in like an apartment.
You sure?
Yeah. It's
I thought they were just like suburban houses. That's how I've always imagined it. They were just suburban houses.
No, it's more like a city street that he's in.
Totally. I do not remember that. All right.
Like in with the puddles and stuff, and like that feels a lot more because there's a kid playing with a ball outside in the street when it's raining and storming. That seems like a lot more of like a Manhattan, like sort of lower income city area instead of like in the suburbs. Like kids, they're not going out after.
I guess I'll have to look up this opening scene again so that way because I feel like you are telling the I feel like you
I'm
are
telling
right.
the truth.
Yeah, you're lying to me, mate. You're lying. But yeah, no, I feel like you are right. I'll definitely have to rewatch it, or else I'm gonna not stop thinking about this throughout the entire day.
Well, like we see him going through this landscape anyway. That we're introduced now to adult Jason for the first time in this franchise.
Yes, we are,
and he's nowhere near a camp.
No, he's a long way from home. This boy.
Yeah, definitely. And like that's really interesting. That is the context that we see adult Jason for the first time.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of like. So he obviously is actively seeking out Alice, and like to kill her. I'm trying to think here if like that because obviously this I think cements that the child Jason that we see in the last film because it's chronologically only like about a year later anyway.
Yeah.
The Jason that we saw in the last film. Is he didn't grow up from a child to an adult this quick.
No, but like that's funny actually because like the whole production of this movie, like the original director didn't really want to come back for this. Tom Savini didn't want to come back to do makeup for this because they thought the idea of Jason coming back was the worst idea ever. They thought it was stupid because it's like this movie's being made a year after and it's supposed to take place like shortly after the original. It's like it doesn't make sense. How can kid Jason be already grown up and like killing people?
Because kid Jason was just an illusion. Just an illusion.
Exactly. And Jason was really an adult helping out Mrs. Voorhees and all that. They didn't know, man. They didn't know. They should have listened to you, man.
Yeah. To me, like, trying to make this make sense, it really does in my mind. All these pieces are coming together.
They should have asked you, man. They should have listened to you.
Adult Jason was there, and also, like, adult Jason, if he was a kid at the time, it makes a lot more sense that it's only been a year. He has seen physically Alice, and, like, as an adult... Do you remember, like, when you were, like, 9 years old, and now being an adult, you cannot remember faces of people when you're 9 years old, usually? Not. Yeah, where here, it makes a lot more sense that he actually has seen her and was, like, in the proximity of Alice trying to kill her, and is there to, tie up loose ends.
Yeah, finish the job, basically, get vengeance for his dear mummy and all that.
Yeah, exactly. So, and also... If it was Pamela that was killing everyone, this means that Alice was Jason's first ever kill.
Oh, you never forget your first.
Yeah, I don't think that this was Jason's first ever kill. He seems far too like
you see him and he's already like very like professionally sneaking around, doing like the way he kills with the ice pick, like very professionally, quick to the point and all that.
Yeah.
So like this does look like it ain't his first rodeo.
I think so. I think that he has killed definitely people in the past, because, especially with like. We can assume that maybe his first ever kill in the first movie, those seem a little bit more sort of like improvising at the start.
Amateurish and all that, yeah.
This one, like, to home invade, I've never tried it, personally. But I feel like it wouldn't be that easy, and he does it quite well, like an expert. Yeah, like, he's been sneaking around for years.
He seems to know his stuff, and like, this is before, like, YouTube tutorials were around, so obviously he'd have to, like, just study up and, like, really just, observe her for a while and all that. Speaking of observing Adrienne King, I got a little story that I wanted to tell you about this movie, specifically about her. Basically, after the first movie came out, Adrienne King actually had a stalker.
Oh.
And the stalking got so bad that at one point, she was actually held at gunpoint by this guy, and she had to talk him out of doing anything horrific to her.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that a couple days ago, and I'm like, holy shit, I need to like tell Rhys about this on the podcast.
Jesus
and
Christ.
like, luckily enough, she hasn't let that whole, like, you know, ugly business deter her from, like, meeting fans at, like, conventions and all that. You know, like, she credits, like, a lot of, like, you know, the loving fans, like, the adoring fans, like, you know, like, kind of not like souring her experience as, like, you know, like being in, like, the, you know, Friday the 13th movies and all that.
Okay,
and, like,
that's
being
good.
like
That's
a very
good.
like well-known, like, final girl in horror pop culture and all that, which is good. But, like, Jesus Christ, I'm so glad that, like, nothing bad came of that experience. Jesus,
really puts into perspective, like, you know, the fans that don't pull a gun out on you and stalk you. Yeah, that really makes you appreciate those ones.
Exactly.
And that is very interesting.
Let's hope that we don't have any Marathon Me fans that are that dedicated to put a gun to our heads.
I can see the New York Times headline right now that says, horror movie actress gone to horror movie in real life.
Oh,
I can already see that right now. I can picture it. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, well, not love that. No. I was just about to say, I love that. No, like, I love that. Like, yeah, that sounds very, like, very reminiscent of the times.
Very
yes.
tabloid.
Yeah, very tabloid.
It's
yes.
like the front page of, like, the New Idea or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
So like, and Alice gets killed in this introduction
I know,
scene.
it's crazy.
Sad. So she was pretty much put in there to tell us the story of what happened last time, and then that loose end's tied up, and then it's sort of like doesn't really like matter. Then it's just like
dies.
Yeah.
Dies. It's just like, you know, say, like, you know how, like, Nightmare on Elm Street 3 brings back Nancy from the first movie. If they just killed off Nancy at the very start of the movie, you know what I mean? It's like, it's like if they did that, it's just crazy. You know, they didn't even really give her anything to do apart from, like, like you said, recap the first movie.
Is it to try and sow the seeds that it's like no one is safe, anyone can die in this franchise?
I guess so, man. That, like, they were just showing us the balls that the series had to kill off their final girl.
I think so. And they introduced too that Jason's a bit of a badass because he doesn't give a shit about puddles. He just steps straight in that puddle.
Oh yeah.
And it's foreshadowing because later on when he's chasing someone through the woods, he just steps in a puddle. Doesn't care.
Does not give a shit. Yep, exactly.
Doesn't care about how wet his feet are.
He doesn't care about water, which is something that will be contradicted later in the series. But for now, he does not care.
Yeah, exactly.
Forced to be reckoned with.
So we're transported from this urban environment where no survivors are left to the town again.
Yep, yeah, the good old town where we're introduced to our boy Crazy Ralph again.
Yep, he's back.
You know, being a nuisance to some other teens and all that.
That's where it really feels like a soft remake.
Yeah, it really does.
It's just it's the same sort of structure too.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of Kevin Bacon, we get, like, you know, this guy wearing, like, a flat cap and all that. It kind of looks like he looks like he'd be really into, like, AC/DC and all that. Or, like, that kind of stuff.
Without a doubt. I think that immediately you can notice that it's a much more colourful cast of teenagers.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, actually personality-wise and like, the character traits. I think it's far easier to identify what their relationships and dynamics are, and even literally colourful. When they get to the camp and you see all of them together as a unit, they look like I think this is where the magic starts. I think this is where the magic begins with this, like, colourful, almost Scooby-Doo-like gang of teens that are disposable and going to get killed, but they all have a thing.
Yeah, you can definitely tell them, like, all apart. They don't blend together like in the first movie and all that. Like,
exactly.
You can probably, like, name at least, like, one quirk for each of, like, the victims in this movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Or, like, at least one, like, defining trait, you know? Yeah.
Without a doubt, at least one with all of them.
Doesn't even have to be, like, anything, like, great or anything. It's just, but you can still name, like, something about them, you know?
Yeah, and, like, what much larger cast means more deaths.
Exactly.
With them having some sort of personality. I think that you're able to remember and also sort of, like, it feels like there's a bit of stakes there.
Like, you actually...
When someone dies, a person dies, and their potential ends.
You feel like you may even feel a bit like, oh no, I like them and all that, you know?
Yeah, definitely so. There's immediately as well in this, like, cast of characters. There's this like creepy Richard Ramirez looking guy.
Yeah, bloody hell.
That I mentioned looked like Richard Ramirez, and Kane searched it up, and you've got to agree with me, right?
No, I definitely do. It's very uncanny. It's very scary.
And like there's like each of these, like every guy is sort of the same in this, in the way that they will latch onto one girl that is like in their
general vicinity,
general vicinity, and is their focus of the film.
Yeah, sink their claws into them and all that.
But then also
to varying degrees of success,
and they're all navigating it differently, and also it's sort of unique who that you can detect who they are connected to and what their dynamic is with that person.
Yeah.
And I think that's really quickly, easily latched onto, especially where there's a lot more characters here. You need to do that a lot quicker. You can't just dive in there and start killing them without us knowing a little bit about them.
Exactly. It's doing something that the first movie failed to do for us.
Yeah. It's interesting that the first kill is not even one of our teenagers. It's our boy Ralph.
I know. It's heartbreaking. Gets killed like full on like Hitman style with garrote wire.
Yeah.
Like insane.
Killed too soon.
I know. Well, look, the man was perving on two of our characters, so which fits with like the whole like promiscuity kills.
Yeah, once you sin, then you're on the chopping block.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. So even Ralph wasn't safe.
It sucks because Ralph it sucks because Ralph was someone who I thought was there to help. At the last movie, and now it seems like he's there to perv.
Exactly, like there wasn't really any apart from him like talking to one of the couples at the start, in the town. He doesn't really want anyone at the camp. Like not our final girl, not the final guy. Like no one. He's just there, to, like you said, there to perv, and then just get bloody choked to death and all that.
I know, right? Very, very, very like
it's disappointing, Ralph. Very disappointed. In
Ralph
you.
died too soon and became a perv far too early.
Exactly.
Yeah, it happens to all of us eventually. But him, he should have had some more years left.
Come on, man.
Him hiding in the cupboard in the first one, I really thought was wholesome, but now, no.
Yeah, now he's just being a creep, Ralph. Like, what are you doing, man?
Exactly, man.
Very rude of you.
Yeah, I'm upset, and that's also then potentially Jason's second ever kill. That feels very professional, garrote wire.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, man's definitely been playing some Hitman to, like, learn moves like that.
Yeah.
Like, wow, Jason, good job, man.
Yeah, I agree.
That's an S ranking right there.
Yeah. Man, Jason moves in a very human manner. I think it's much more effective, to be honest, the tool of us seeing even just like Jason's body and in the background instead of like every kill being a POV kill.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Like, the kills are a lot better, are a step up, like a miles ahead compared to the first movie. Honestly,
yeah,
because you actually see the killer, you like see like kind of his physicality, and like you get like a better idea of the kill, of like what the kills are instead of them all being off screen, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is, like, great. Like, it definitely sticks with you a lot more.
And like, we get the most human Jason that we see that almost, like, seems like he almost acts and has this body language of a human being.
Yeah,
like, there's
definitely.
Like, it has that similar thing that Ghostface has, where he is clumsy and will make mistakes, and you sort of can get away from him.
Yeah.
And, like, that, I think sometimes, that potential of freedom and safety makes it more terrifying, because your safety is in your hands.
Exactly.
Sometimes I'm not scared by creatures or slashers or killers that you will definitely die from. Like, there's no way of getting away from them, because at that point you can't do anything. It's almost you've come to terms with your death before it even happens.
It's like you might as well just like kill yourself and all that, because like there's like, what's the point? There's like no way to get out of this.
There's no way. So it's like, it's gonna happen.
Knowing that
why?
Knowing that like freedom is in your like freedom is attainable. Just, you know, if you just put up a fight in the right ways and pick your moves wisely, you can get out of this.
Yeah. Every dodge is a life or death situation, or a death or death situation.
Which is much more like enthralling, I reckon.
And also like with even his like this film sort of appeals to that almost fear of sort of like the white trash hillbilly in the forest that wants to kill you.
Definitely with the costume design of Jason and all that. You know, he looks very hillbilly like. He's got like the bloody white.
He's wearing overalls.
He's wearing white overalls, like a blue flannel.
Yeah.
When he's unmasked later, he has like a very hillbilly kind of like almost he almost kind of looks like a mutant from Wrong Turn a little bit.
Yeah, he does. He does. And even him with like the bag on his head.
Yeah.
Well, because
very like reminiscent of like Deep South and all that.
We get Sackhead Jason here.
Yep. And honestly, man, I love me some Sackhead Jason.
I really do. I love how there's just it's such a clean sack.
Yeah.
It's so clean, and there's this perfectly shaped hole right at one of his eyes.
No one liked the idea of Sack Jason during the production of this movie, but they couldn't really think of like what to have him wear, really. So this mask is basically kind of like, I don't want to say a rip-off, but I would say more so an homage to the film The Town That Dreaded Sundown, where their killer had like a baghead mask. So they saw that film and were like, okay, let's just do that, and then they just did the one eye, which makes sense because basically one of Jason's eyes he's basically like all fucked and all that because of like his deformities. So it makes sense. It's still good. There are some shots, I will admit, where baghead Jason looks genuinely creepy. I'm not talking about like, you know, shots of him like running or like any of that kind of stuff. I'm just talking about like there are several like times when you see him like, you know, in the shadows, or even like when he is hiding in the bed and like sits up. You know what scene I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Like when he that's like the first time you properly see baghead Jason. It does startle you a little bit. You're like, whoa, okay.
It really, really does.
Yeah.
And like he stands out because he is like, in contrast to I think a lot of other sort of like slasher characters who are usually quite like their costuming is very dark and they blend in with the environment.
Yeah.
Here, with him being sort of quite bright, this bright blue and this bright, clean white sack.
Oh, it sticks out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, it really does. And contrast, like he should not be here. He should not be where he is right now.
Yeah, he's like, he's a long way from home, Dorothy.
Yeah.
a long way from Kansas.
He has a very similar outfit to Dorothy.
Does he?
Overalls, the checkered shirt underneath.
When does
Dorothy wears
I
overalls.
thought Dorothy wore like a blue dress.
An overall dress.
I have not seen Wizard of Oz since I was like 7, so fair enough for me not remembering.
It is 100%. 100%. I think, Wizard of Oz reference in Friday the 13th Part 2.
I know, mate. I would never have seen the day, but you know what? Here we are. We're here.
Yeah, they're like an overall dress.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What the? Okay, yeah. All right. Now I feel like a fool.
Oh my god,
dude, Jason. Okay, I didn't realize Jason was a big Wizard of Oz fan.
Dude, Jason, is he a reference and culmination of all of the Wizard of Oz characters? Got the sack on his head,
like the Scarecrow.
Like the Scarecrow. He doesn't have a heart,
just like the Tin Man.
Exactly.
He's got courage to murder, like the Cowardly Lion.
He's ferocious, like a lion.
Oh, that too.
He's after blood.
Mm-hmm. And then he's got the costuming of Dorothy right there.
Exactly.
And the wickedness of the.
There's even Toto in this movie.
Oh, there is a Toto in this movie.
There is a little dog.
Rebranded as Muffin or Muffins.
It's Muffin, yeah.
Yeah, who dies in this movie but doesn't. That did not make sense to me. And I'm sure, and I remember that you freaked out at that.
Yeah, so like, one of the first sort of found deaths is this dog. So this dog goes missing, and then they find a dead dog in the woods that seems like the same breed as this dog.
Yeah, I think they even enunciate that it's Muffins in this movie as well.
Yeah.
I think.
And then later on, the dog comes back.
Yeah, right at the very end, it's just like, okay, what's going on here? Like, so it's weird.
Had puppies. The puppies didn't make it, but Muffin's still okay.
Oh, thank God.
Or Muffin didn't make it, and then the puppy came back.
Or maybe it's just like the exact same breed that just happened. Like there's a stray dog living in the Crystal Lake area that just looks exactly like Muffin.
Even though it's the most like princey, proper looking, fancy ass dog.
Like maybe
the most house trained dog you've ever seen.
I know, it's insane. It's insane. What the hell?
That's insane.
That's insane. Oh my God, no, it's insane.
Man, I love Jason's bunker in this.
Oh, the Jason house is so cool. It's really. I remember the early in the movie when like you first see it, when like the cop like the cop is like going in to investigate it, it's genuinely like chilling, especially because like the whole thing's like in daytime. You don't see a lot of the interior of the house and all that. And when he like opens the door and they see like, you know, the shrine room that we see later on of Jason's mother and all that, you know, you only see the cop's reaction to it, with then Jason obviously killing him seconds later. But like his reaction where he's just shocked. He's like, oh my god, like that filled me with a little bit of dread. I'm like, whoa, damn man, like whatever he's seeing must be horrifying in there. And obviously I knew what was in there, but like the reaction was very what's the word? Effective. It was very effective.
And it also like ties into this like sort of fear of the hillbilly murderer in the woods that just like is living off the land, has his little sort of hidey that you wouldn't even notice. You could go for a bushwalk and you would go straight past it. And also it appeals to this like, I think this would have happened to you before, right? When you find locations that you're like, ooh, I feel like I shouldn't be here.
Yeah, yes, definitely.
And this definitely appeals to that fear of like, and your curiosity too, that you want to investigate, but like who knows what could be living there. What has or what could currently be living there
exactly.
is terrifying.
Yeah, and these guys and the cop obviously let curiosity get the better of him.
Yeah,
meanwhile,
exactly.
like you and I, we'd probably come across stuff like that or similar and just be like, nope, I am out of here.
Signs of life when you can't attribute whose life it is and where life is coming from. Very scary.
Yeah,
very unsettling.
Could not agree more, man. I remember, like, you know that I live like near a gully, and there's like a train bridge, like about like a half-hour walk away.
Oh yes,
where you can go. Where I don't know, you can't really anymore, but like you could go like underneath the bridge. Which had like railings underneath, and I would go there every now and again when I was younger. And I remember one time I went there, saw a makeshift bed, immediately was just like, nope, I'm out of here. Signs of life, I was like, hell nah, man, I'm fucking done. I can't do this.
That would be pretty scary.
Yeah, it was, man. And like, even now, I'll like go under there. I haven't been there for a while, but like, I'd be going under there and having my reservations, be like, oh god, what could be under here? You know,
it's even just like, I think most people have this sort of discomfort of just being in someone else's space and home without them knowing, and like that, like you feel like you're trespassing, right? Trespassing onto like a threatening figure's land.
You don't know what they're capable of and all that. Yeah,
exactly. That is like that's almost like a primal fear that like animals would feel in the like in their own ecosystem.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there's like even down to like very simple things of like I was hanging out with some friends from JB once, and we all did some mushrooms together.
Disgusting.
And we were at the park like across the road from the mate's house that we were like hanging at, and he's like, oh, we're gonna go for a walk, him and his brother. You guys just go to the house and just hang out there. And they lived in like a big share house with like 4 other people.
Oh yeah.
And we went in, sat down in the living room, and we're like, what do we do here? And we just felt like we were in, because also we didn't really know any of the other people that lived there.
Oh,
and
yeah,
we were
I
all
getcha.
like intoxicated, and just like, and because we didn't have our mate with us that actually lived there, we were just like, this feels wrong.
Yeah,
it feels like we're trespassing and we're in someone else's territory.
I can relate to that, yes.
What can we touch? What can't we touch? We were like, there was a PlayStation, the PlayStation was on, and it's like, whose PlayStation is this? Can we just start playing this?
Yeah, you just like, you don't know like what to do. Like you just, all you can really do is just sit around and feel awkward for the whole time. That's like how I feel like because like my ex-girlfriend would like always be like, you know, have like roommates and all that, and they were like their apartments. She'd leave, I'd be sitting there being like, okay, I feel like I'm intruding right now. What do I do?
It's very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Just being in someone else's space, not good.
Most definitely.
I think that this film gets a lot more voyeuristic in terms of its like in terms of nudity and like the audience gawking as well.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
Like I think that like I didn't really talk about this movie as much in the last episode, but this is sort of like the comparison that I was making is that you can see that the camera here, there will be shots that are just on like the entire composition of the frame is someone's arse in a G-string sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
And just like really hovering on that, and you can see how much hornier the movie is inherently getting. Like just in like the technical codes and everything.
Yeah, definitely.
It's getting far more sort of exploitative and trying to explore the body and things like that.
Yeah, very weird. Yeah,
you can see though that it's almost falling into its own, and that is what the sort of that's sort of what the
series would become kind of known for.
Yeah,
is that, like,
exactly.
It's very voyeuristic, sensibility.
Very gratuitous.
Gratuitous, yes. Sexualization of young horny teens and all that.
Yeah, there's like also like you see full frontal nudity in this as well, where it's just like one of the girls is just like, I'm just gonna go for a swim. Goes for a swim.
Yeah, literally
and just hovers on her getting undressed.
On her naked figure. Yeah, it's like, gee, it's like you weren't even being subtle with this. Like it was literally just a scene that like it was just written in just for nudity.
The whole camp was even like in the characters, it was so much hornier. Every character had one person that they were trying to get with.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Like everyone had that one person really. And then they almost get there and like almost get to
almost go all the way and all
go
that,
all the way,
yeah.
and then it doesn't happen. That's where I think that certain deaths have a lot more weight with like the dude in the wheelchair.
Oh, yeah.
and his love interest
Vicky, yeah.
who and her name's Vicky.
Yes.
Good job for knowing the names.
Yeah.
I've got because the names are so disposable in my brain.
The only names I remember is Vicky and then the other couple, Jeff and Sandra. I'll explain why in a second.
Okay. Because Vicky and the dude in the wheelchair, they've got like they keep on developing the interest that Vicky has in this dude throughout the entire thing, and there's and the whole way that it also feels like a united group of friends that they actually do. Feel like
it doesn't feel like a group of strangers.
Yeah. The first one feels like a group of strangers. I think.
It's just a bunch of kids like just taking a job and all that, basically.
Yeah, and then but with this one here, you feel their unity and they're like the dude in the wheelchair and Vicky, because they don't seem to be shitty people. You are rooting for them to get with each other, and then when
they do have nice chemistry, like I saw in the movie.
They do. Yeah. It's also like a sort of like it doesn't seem like a gross chemistry either.
No.
It is two people that actually seem to like each other.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it becomes surprising because it's building up to them hooking up. But then just before what happens, that's when the wheelchair dude gets a machete in the face.
Yeah, which is such a good kill.
That's a really good kill.
Oh my
and
lord.
I think that it is aided because you're looking forward to what is going to come from him as well.
And then seeing him die, it's like, you get like a genuine like, oh no, what the fuck?
He just missed out.
Yeah, exactly.
Vicky just missed out after doing after trying so hard.
It's so brutal though, because he gets a machete to the face, and then like his wheelchair just goes rolling down the stairs
in the rain,
and then you get that brutal flash to white at the very end.
It's
just like, oh my lord.
Yeah, really, but like, oh man, and there's a lot of those kills. You feel like that. The other couple. Why was it that you remember the other couple?
I remember the other couple because the actress that plays Sandra, it was actually lied about her age. Is actually 17, underage. Also, Vicky, her actress was also 17 as well.
Oh no!
In the film, so we had two underage actresses, which makes the whole scenes of like Vicky parading around in her panties and all that very awkward to watch. And then obviously there is a sex scene with like Sandra and the male character Jeff, which was obviously cut because like bloody hell, they're not gonna after they found out, they obviously cut it, which like they really should have known like earlier on. Like obviously she lied about it, but like you feel like you still would try to find out.
There must be like an ID check or something, right?
There should be.
Maybe it was really just a fake ID.
Maybe, perhaps, I don't know. But yeah, it's insane. Like I remember when I first found that out, I was like, no fucking way.
Yeah, that is.
And I remember, like, I wish I waited till the because, like, I told Rhys while we were watching the movie, I wish I held my tongue, but I needed to get it out.
It was fascinating to find that out. And also, like, what would the people that are involved in the filmmaking of this, what would be your protocol when this happens? When it comes to light that these people that you've been filming in the nude are underage, what do you do?
You'd have to you'd cut the footage. Like you'd have to like rewrite like a bunch of shit. Like probably have to, like, I don't know,
It
honestly.
also just feels so dirty.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. It feels, ugh. Yeah, I feel gross thinking about it, man, honestly.
It is very, like, would she get in trouble for it, or would it be more on the backs of the production?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's honestly mostly the production that gets, like, more of the flack of it, you know?
Yeah.
Because they are, you know, in a way, filming, you know, child exploitation, basically, which is, like, you know, like, disgusting, obviously.
And obviously, Jason was not a fan either.
No,
because,
exactly.
When they started getting all hot and heavy, just got it was a harpoon, right?
It was a spear, yeah.
A spear, just spear straight through them.
Yes, they
2
did.
for 1.
Yep.
So good. That's a great kill.
Oh, yeah, it's great. I love it.
That feels like very just like perfect cliche Friday the 13th kill.
Oh,
That's
definitely.
Like efficient, has some sort of like they're banging as it happens.
I've actually got a fun fact about that kill scene, actually. So, the actor that plays Jeff, they kind of had to do a similar thing where they had, like, you know, his head kind of sticking out for, you know, with his body underneath and all that. Because obviously they use, like, a fake body. They're not going to kill the real actor.
Yeah.
And because, like, the shoots would go on for so long, the actor playing Jeff would complain about being tired. At one point, during an interview, he was stated, quoting as saying that after complaining about the long shoot times, I think it was a sound guy, like a sound engineer, blew white powder into his face. This is the actor's words, not mine. I'm not making this up. He says that a sound guy blew white powder into his face, and then later on felt like he had energy to do multiple more shoots. Mysterious white powder. He didn't know what it was. It's obviously coke. Like, yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So I remember
this was the 80s as well.
This was the
of
80s.
Course.
Yes, exactly.
And this is also like they have money this time round.
Mm-hmm.
There would be so much coke on this set.
And a lot of the films, like obviously, because we haven't seen all the films yet, and I'm definitely very interested in looking up the backstories for all these movies. I want to see like how many of the sets were like littered with drugs, because apparently like the set was not very
dingy.
Not dingy. It kind of like somewhat not unprofessional, but like a lot of like not exactly the most suitable of work environments, especially for 17-year-olds.
Oh my god, I didn't even think about these coke-fueled Fridays.
There was also a lot of injuries as well on this set as well.
Oh, really? What sort of injuries?
Well, the actor that... So, you know, at the end of the movie when Ginny is, trying to distract Jason, yeah?
Yeah.
And you know, she's about to raise the machete, and then Jason blocks the machete with his pickaxe. Basically... the machete, I'm pretty sure they used a real machete. They used a real machete.
Oh my
and
God.
Due to exhaustion, she actually cut the actor who plays Jason's hand. He goes to hospital with like the prop machete still stuck into his like shoulder. Gets patched up. Later on, finishes the scene that day.
Jesus Christ!
I thought that was so cool.
That's
well, not the injury part, but like him, like
so cool.
him coming back and just like
It is very interesting. Also, how funny would it be in the emergency room seeing that?
I know.
Seeing someone like would have had the machete in his in his shoulder.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh my god, what happened to you? No, it's my hand.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just my hand. Yeah.
There was like another movie that had like
they
a similar...
operate like what would happen? They would like instinctively try and operate on that, and then be like, wait a minute. This isn't a real injury.
Yeah, what are you
You're
doing?
lying to healthcare professionals.
Exactly. There was another movie I remember where like someone had like burn victim makeup on them, and they went to the hospital for a different reason. I don't remember what it was though. So
interesting.
I might try to find that out later.
We'll find it out when we get to whatever the movie that is.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah. There's this like reveal of Sackhead Jason that when they've already had like the two lovebirds that get impaled together.
Yeah.
When they're killed, they're like set up and laid out in one of the bedrooms, and then a Sackhead Jason goes into the bed, and like that's like the most like childish sort of thing that he does in any of these films, is hiding under the sheets of the bed.
Just Sackhead Jason, so adorable.
Maybe he is like a sex freak because he's in there like with a murdered, naked, dead body.
Maybe he just feels more comfortable with dead people rather than alive people in a sexual nature. Maybe Jason's a bit of a necrophiliac. Who knows?
Maybe it would make sense.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is like, and then he just pops out like a freaking like mummy out of a coffin.
Peekaboo.
Yeah, and then that's when like the chase sort of starts off.
Yeah,
and like I think the Packanack Lodge is such a good location for this chase scene.
Oh, definitely,
because there's multiple layers to it, levels to it, and it's also quite open.
Yeah,
and like that openness is sort of scary, I think.
Oh, definitely, yeah. It's because you can see him coming from a mile away and all that, and that's if anything scarier sometimes than running but not seeing your attacker behind you, like knowing that he's there, knowing that you can see him and he is catching up, it's terrifying, honestly.
Yeah, totally. So like at this point, like most of our teenagers have already died, like they're and because there's so many of them, there's so many kills, and they're always so good.
Yeah,
there's like one where like the freaking Ramirez guy.
The Richard Ramirez guy.
The Richard Ramirez guy, he's hanging up because he got like caught in a trap.
Yeah.
And then the girl that went skinny dipping goes to like try and get him down, and then when he's already tied up, Jason comes and just like
slits his throat with like the dull end of the machete.
Yeah, exactly. Oh god, that like makes me cringe just thinking about it.
Oh my god.
And then she comes back to cut him down, and he's hanging like being bled out.
Yeah, sees like his dead body screaming, and then just like screams at the camera, and then just cut to next scene.
Yeah,
which is like
right?
very disappointing. And then like we see her like dead body like in Jason's shrine later.
Yeah,
and it's just like like you couldn't have given us another kill or something.
Well, I am very like I feel very happy with the amount of kills that they show us in this.
Yeah, no.
Most
like,
are on screen, and they're all pretty impressive.
Yeah, like one off-screen death is not the worst thing in the world. I still would have liked if we'd seen something, but then again, it would kind of make sense because this film was a lot of these movies were heavily affected by the rating system. By the MPAA,
yeah,
because like with the big runaway success of the first movie, this movie was cut down a total of like I think 48 to 50 seconds were cut from this movie to prevent it from getting an X rating.
Oh my god!
So like
damn.
basically just like extra like blood and gore and all that, which is crazy thinking about nowadays with like the amount of content that we have that features blood and gore and excessive violence, like but like you can't have like swearing like Walking Dead. You show like blood, gore, a multitude of fucked up stuff. One swear word though, nah, that's an R rating. That's like canceling syndication right there.
That's so strange.
It's maddening.
I find the most unsettling moment in this film is when Jenny and like the head counselor, when they come home from the pub.
Head counselor Paul Holt.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
And because they go to like the pub at one point, and they come back and just find a bed full of blood.
Oh, that is there's like genuinely like as you said, unsettling, creepy moments in this movie.
Imagine you come home, you don't know where everyone is. Like, well, where is everyone? Exploring the house, and then you just find a bed full of blood,
and you don't know how to, because like they kind of like they don't immediately like start screaming and all that because like they don't know what to think. They're just like, what the fuck happened
at this
here?
point? It's like, we're out. Like,
yeah,
we're leaving. But no. They're like, who did this? Come on, guys.
What kind of pranks going on here, guys?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Shelley, are you around?
Oh, we'll get to him tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll get not tomorrow, next episode.
Yeah. But it's just like, they sort of doubt it. But I would be the same. I wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, you wouldn't know what to think. Honestly, you'd be very skeptical.
Yeah.
Especially like a person at that age, like you'd probably just think that your friends are fucking with you.
Exactly. And then that is what like sort of like very soon after that is where then this like climactic chase scene like that starts up. And I think this feels far more like the classic climax chase.
Yeah, classic Final Girl circuit. Like the beginning of it is so good. Like Paul looking around the room, and then you see like Jason emerging from the shadows and coming up behind him, and Ginny like calling out to Paul, being like, Paul, there's someone behind you. Like not sure. Like she doesn't panic at first because she doesn't know who it is. For all she knows, it's like one of her friends. And then when she realizes she can't recognize the guy, she then starts like screaming at him, and that's genuinely like unnerving to watch.
Oh, it's so freaking great.
I know, right?
Uses the location, they go from room to room, locking doors behind her, the car won't start.
Oh, classic stuff.
They then have to go outside. I think that there's a point where she's sort of like on the roof sort of thing.
Yeah, there's a part where she tries to fight back against Jason with a chainsaw.
Yeah.
Chekhov's chainsaw, which
so good.
She was using earlier yeah, so like, you know, it shows that like, you know, she's adept to using like a chainsaw and all that. So, you know, it shows that she's capable at fighting back against Jason. Slamming with a chair as well. Let's go.
I know, right?
Which also breaks the because like, you know how like everyone always thinks that Jason. What? Are you okay?
Yeah.
Oh no, I think Jason's outside.
Yeah,
just heard
exactly.
a bang and a crash.
Yeah.
But no, like, you know how like people always confuse Jason with like a hockey mask and chainsaw and all that.
Yeah.
Like I feel, you know, it's funny because he's never wielded one, and then like, yeah, the chainsaw is only really shown in this movie specifically, and it's used against him.
It's
which
really
I think
weird,
is really cool.
It's really interesting. How you never see Jason with a chainsaw.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's like, no, that's not for me.
That's Leatherface shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm above Sawyer stuff right there.
Yeah. He's like, I don't need a chainsaw. It's like, well, compensating for something, Leatherface.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. There's like, and like then when they're outside running, they then like reuse the same like bits of the forest to show you that they're going in the same direction towards the like outpost and towards the house. That I really like that, because that's a subtle detail where like when the cop is first exploring and then finds his puddle, and they sort of just like hone in on the puddle, and he's looking at that and he's like, oh well, okay, what's this?
Yeah.
And then the next shot he finds himself at the hut, and this is what Jenny is like running past and then finds herself there, and oh man, it just is perfect to end it up there.
Yeah.
It's perfect fucking climax
It's
location.
great.
It's like you're in the belly of the beast, right?
Yeah. Oh. And like, let's not forget to mention like when she like gets into the hut, the scene of like where you're looking out the window and you can see like Jason like in the distance just like running up towards the house, like genuinely such an generally the creepiest scene in the movie. Honestly,
That is like it's one of the only times in the film where it feels like the cinematography and the framing of the shot is taken into consideration.
Oh my god, yeah, it's incredible.
Because like it's like Jenny thinks that she's like safe for like a second, is like hiding behind the door, taking a breather, and then we see him just emerge from the forest.
Yeah, oh my god, it's so good.
So
like it's
awesome.
like even with the goofy costume and all that, yeah, it's like really, it's fucking scary.
And like there's just this whole like the inside at night now with like the shrine is so eerie, and I wrote down like eerily beautiful with the with the detail to the mise en scène. It's I love that. I fucking love it so much. And then like a really interesting thing that is sort of planted earlier is how Jenny has been like reading up on like child psychology, right?
Yeah, Paul like it mentions like her like studying up on child psychology, and then uses that against Jason.
But even like it's the combination of that too with that she's the only one that's sort of doubtful and listening to the stories that people are saying about the camp.
Yeah,
everyone else is just shrugging them off.
Yeah, it's great stuff.
Where she is the only one that is actually listening and observing it, and then sees Pamela Voorhees, sees her sweater, and then just uses the like instinctively.
Puts two and two together. It's like okay, I'm gonna use this.
Exactly. It's fascinating, and such a cool, interesting ending. Like it's so campy and like plays into the whole mystical curse element of it, right? Where it's like his weakness. His weakness is the sweater.
His kryptonite is his mother, the sweater. Yeah,
it's so cheesy in the best way.
Yeah, no, it's really because like it's unique, is what it is. Like it's definitely it stands out a lot to me more than like a lot of other like horror movie climaxes from that era. Like you don't see like someone donning the outfit of the killer's dead mother and using that against him. Like that is so fucking cool. In like cheesy, yes, but like so fucking cool.
It's
man.
creative, and it also allows us to then like finally see his entire body, like Jason's entire body there in the forefront, so we can just like inspect him, and also you see his eye the closest as well. It almost like shows us the human vulnerability that exists inside him still.
The way his eyes kind of light up and like get widened when like he sees Ginny in like his mother's sweater, like you get a very like childlike idea of this man. Like this is not just like some random like man and all that's doing these murders. This is like the mind of a child, basically.
Yeah,
it's like a child doing this.
And it's great too, the the POV shots that like shows the like this delusion sort of like wearing off.
Yeah.
Like when like Pamela Voorhees' face is like superimposed onto Jenny's, which is like super cheesy but still great.
Yeah.
And then it sort of wears off, and then he sort of goes again, like goes to like he's like, oh no, I'm gonna make an attack, and then goes back and forth. So there is this intensity there too, that it's also like you haven't just defeated him. Like
yeah,
you've
got to undo your spell, but only for so long.
Yeah, exactly. It's a limited time only like consumable item.
So it's like you gotta take your opportunity now before before it wears off.
Fun fact, just to tie in the freaking Friday the 13th video game again, is that the only way to kill Jason in the Friday the 13th video game is that you have to, with a female character, find his hut, steal the sweater, put it on, distract him, hit him enough times, and then he falls down, and then you have to keep on, and then you have to have Tommy Jarvis as a playable character to then have the machete and then kill him with the machete.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but like an integral step is this whole like Pamela Voorhees sweater thing.
That's so sick.
It's very, very cool. It's also the way that the hut is integrated into the game as well is so freaking awesome, because of course like the first step to killing Jason is you have to find his hut.
Yeah.
But when you enter his hut, Jason gets informed, like his mother's voice starts playing to the character playing Jason, going, "Someone's in your home! Get them, Jason! Get them!" which makes it like when you get into the hut, Jason knows where you are, and you have that in the back of your mind, and it says Jason's been notified that you're in the hut.
That's gonna fill you with like a lot of dread. Yeah.
It's really, really interesting and fun.
I'm really hoping that like for each subsequent entry that we talk about, there's at least one point where like you bring up the game. I'm glad that like at least one of us has played the game, because like it would suck if like none of us had played the game. So and that's that's like a pretty big Friday the 13th like piece and all that to like piece of media to talk about.
Yeah, totally. I'll be just like bringing up different nuances and reflections and stuff like that.
It's great stuff.
Yeah. So and he's not defeated, but distracts him for just long enough so that then the
Paul Holt,
you know the guy.
Yeah, Paul Holt, comes to like have another scuffle with Jason again.
Yeah, exactly. It's perfect. It's perfect. Yeah. And then during this scuffle is when then Jenny gets the machete,
swings the machete down on his shoulder, knocks him, like not knocks him out, but like takes him out for the time being. They unmask him, and I love it. Like Jenny seems like pretty like held herself out pretty well throughout the entire third act. Second she sees this deformed man, just starts breaking down.
Yeah, I know,
She's
right?
Like, oh God, his teeth. Oh no,
he's so ugly.
He doesn't have a good dental plan. Fuck.
Yeah, and yeah. Oh, I love that. And also at this moment too, when it's like all is well, it's okay, and they go back to the main house. I'm here thinking, the scrawny guy. There was this like sort of scrawny jokester throughout the entire movie.
Bloody discount Screech from Saved by the Bell in the movie. Yeah,
and I'm like, where did he go? And he just stayed at it's really weird. He goes to the bar. He's like one of the main like kids.
Yeah.
And he goes to the bar with them, and then stays there, and we never see or hear from him again.
Yeah, because he stays there because, like, as in his words, wants to keep the party going.
Yeah,
so
wants to keep the party going.
So basically, this party animal basically survived by just keeping the party going.
It's inconsistent with like he's one of the only survived. Like he's one of the few people that actually survived throughout the franchise.
Yeah, let alone male as well, because like it's very rare for a male to survive these movies.
And also like it's sort of inconsistent with this whole like those that reap the violence of Jason being like sex crazed and like being impure. He's out there to party and pick up.
Yeah, so like I guess
inconsistent, but not on his land maybe.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, true though. True.
He's respectful enough to try and hook up away from the camp.
Yeah, exactly. Ginger Screech. Yeah, he definitely like he's got a bit of heart and soul to him. So God bless him.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope he's all right. I hope he's not too traumatized from his friends all dying and all that. I hope the party was worth it, Screech.
I think that when they end up at the house, like as in Jenny and Paul, and then like the dog comes in because there's a fake out scare, with this like zombie dog. And then there's another jump scare with like Jason coming through the window.
Back,
Really, really like that one, and you do get like a
good look at redneck hills have eyes looking ass Jason.
Yeah. I love the idea of there being like of you wanting to see his face, that morbid curiosity of wanting to see the deformity of Jason.
Yeah.
And then every film building up to this face reveal. I love that.
Yeah, that was always like one thing I loved about like watching the films as a kid was like seeing, because like they change it, because like they change it up every bloody movie and all that. Like you're never gonna get the same looking Jason in each one, which like I love. It gives Jason in each movie, not just Jason in each movie, but like each movie kind of a sense of identity in a way.
Yeah, totally. So this is this is Jason. This is hillbilly, white trash, Hills of Eyes version of Jason.
And you know what? We love him for that.
Do love him. He does have that unique charm. That big fan.
Bro, you know
that's my Jason.
You know the bluegrass banjo music they were playing for Kevin Bacon in the first movie?
Yeah,
that should have been Jason's theme song for this movie.
It's just playing at his hut in repeat.
Yes, bro. Like, come on. No, it just plays during the last jump scare.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, like just that. Dude, someone needs to re-edit that scene with the bluegrass music.
You know how like after that jump scare, Jenny wakes up in hospital again?
Yeah,
and then it's like we couldn't find him.
We couldn't find Paul and all that. Yeah, they just kind of like rush a little bit of that like final like 30 seconds and all that. But like it's not the worst
so
in the world.
What I'm assuming again is that all was a delusion, as well as the dog coming in.
Yeah,
I think that it cements that's definitely a...
That would explain why, like the dog's dead, but then alive.
It's not a zombie dog. The dog is dead, but then this is in the illusion.
Yeah.
And also, I don't think that the girl would know that the dog was dead.
True.
So that's why she's like imagining this.
Yes.
And it's this false sense of relief that's coming, and because Jason wants that, right? Jason wants this Jason worm that's coming in her brain is like wants her to feel safe. And then take that security away from her.
He's like, yeah, exactly. Like, just
so that she's always on her toes.
Yeah, exactly.
Whenever she feels safe is when she should feel the least safe.
There we go, mate.
So I really loved this one. I was a big fan.
Yeah, no, this one is just like in every way, shape, and form. It's just a better version of Friday the 13th Part 1, honestly.
Yeah, it expanded on the original heaps, and it's just like a really clean slasher film.
Yeah,
that's what I felt. Mainly.
It's just like it's basically like at the end of the day, it's just a very like simple, fun slasher movie, and like that's all I want. That's all I wanted out of this one, and it's just a whole lot of fun. And a bit of a barrel of laughs as well with Baghead. A barrel of laughs with Jason Voorhees. I'll tell you what, like bloody hell, man.
Sometimes you don't need Kevin Bacon. You don't even need a backstory. Sometimes you just need a sack and a pickaxe.
God bless. And have a lovely night, everybody. And join us and get your 3D glasses ready because we're talking about Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D.
And don't forget to check out our Facebook page at Marathon Me Official, all one word, and our Instagram, MarathonMe_official, to keep up to date on the podcast. And hey, if you want to get into contact with us, email us at marathonmepodc, yes, the letter C, @gmail.com. Like podcast without the arse.